Joining me for our panel, Stephen Dickens, the CEO and Principal Analyst at Hyperframe Research, and Melissa Otto, Head of TMT Research at S&P Global Visible Alpha. Melissa, get us started here. How did the numbers hit compared to your expectations?
It was certainly an interesting quarter. It was good. They beat both Visible Alpha consensus in the quarter and in the outlook, but it wasn't great. I think you had some really bullish estimates out there that it kind of missed on. So I think, the whisper was a little bit, kind of created maybe a little bit of disappointment in the market. Additionally, the commentary around the gross margin, I think, was a little bit concerning.
Tell me about that. That was literally what I saw last night. I was talking to my guests, and their response was basically, at this point, Nvidia is just all about demand. They've got endless demand, basically. Too much demand, not enough supply. Margin's not going to matter so much. But I'm glad you bring it up, because that's kind of my thought, too, is it looked like the only print that didn't really change from the last year.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think they're going through a transition. We're moving from Hopper to Blackwell, and Q4, I think, is really going to be a critical earnings release for them, where they really give the fiscal year 2026 outlook for Blackwell, where we see, really what that new product platform is going to do for the company, and what sort of true margin trajectory we should see longer term. And, I think that's really what the market's going to be waiting for. That's probably where the next big catalyst could be.
Stephen, chime in. Should we be fretting over any imperfections in these numbers, or is Nvidia's sales just a matter of when, not if?
So, Oliver, thanks for having me on the show. I think the key takeaways here for me, we've got to remember this is law of large numbers starting to play in. The numbers were up 17% from Q2, up 94% year on year. That's huge in this sector. I think there's a number of tailwinds. I track this sector really closely, and I think the things that were interesting for me on the call was Oracle constructing their first ever Zeta scale environment with 131,000 Blackwell GPUs. That's huge. I was recently out at HPE's AI Day in Wisconsin with Antonio Neri, their CEO. Literally this week, they've announced the numbers around the top 500 HPC machines. HP were in 6 of the top 10. But the key takeaway for me, as I literally went around that factory and did the tour, the NVIDIA GPUs were everywhere. I think the key takeaway for me, as I look at this, is their biggest customers are announcing increased infrastructure spend. We saw Alphabet, Microsoft, and Amazon this earnings season all announce 62, 51, and 81% respectively that they're increasing infrastructure. That's without that Oracle number and without the numbers we're seeing from Elon Musk's companies and Meta. Infrastructure could be up by 230 billion. Those are huge demand tailwinds for Nvidia.
Stephen, who among the major customers do you feel could surprise the most? Who's kind of the most important marginal buyer among those big ones?
Well, I mean, you've got the big four, the big three hyperscalers and Meta, obviously. I see there's no slowing down of their investment cycle. I think I'm particularly interested in Oracle. We heard about Elon Musk and Larry Ellison taking Jensen out for dinner in order so that they could convince Nvidia to sell them more GPUs. Oracle's got that data centricity, so bringing AI to that data is going to be a critical play for them. So I think there's a lot of talk about that big four, putting Meta in the mix with those big three hyperscalers. I think the one I'd be looking for is obviously Oracle. You've got Elon Musk's companies, XAI, X, Tesla making big investments. They always get the new. But the Oracle one for me is interesting. And that was mentioned on the earnings call.
Like the context, too, of the dinner. That probably was a pretty good one. I'd love to see the bill there. Larry Ellison, Jensen.
I don't think any of those guys need to worry about who picked the tab up. Let's put it that way.
I don't think so. I don't think my compliance would sign off on that expense sheet. Thanks, guys. Melissa Otto, Stephen Dickens. Appreciate the thoughts here on NVIDIA.